Charlie Hitchcock needed a big, angry dog. He needed a bodyguard. He needed rats. But unluckily, Charlie didn't have any of those things. Which is why he walked out of school at the end of the day to face his fate alone. Well, not exactly alone. Kids were lined up on both sides of the sidewalk staring at him as he walked past. Good luck, Charlie. It will be over soon. You are doomed, loser. There were friends and well-wishers. There were kids who'd never heard of Charlie until that day. The kind of kids who went to car races hoping to see a crash. And there were enemies. A few of them shook his hand. One girl cried. A third grader asked Charlie for his autograph. Maybe it will be worth something, the young kid explained. After you know you are destroyed. After more shouts and support, nervous whispers, laughs, and jeers, Charlie reached the end of the sidewalk. He sighed. Before he walked across the street, where he would be officially off school grounds, he turned around. The crowd had split apart as his audience left the school grounds, moving away from him as quickly as they could. Charlie shivered in the cold October breeze. He dug deep into his pockets and pulled out the piece of wrinkled notepad he had been handed earlier in the day. Between English and American history, for the 37th time he read it. Meet me after school at 1313 Gideon Street. Alley in back. Don't show this to anyone. The paper had been shoved into his hand by the biggest seventh grader at Blackstone Middle School, Tyler Yu. Ty had never spoken to Charlie in the 6 years they had known each other. Ty never spoke to anyone. Charlie had heard him yell, though, and grunt and shout, because the one thing Tyler Yu was famous for was fighting. His muscles and his temper were always getting him into trouble. After school, battles between Ty and other students were legendary, and they always started with a note. So why had Ty picked on Charlie this time? And why had he given him an address for somewhere in the middle of the city? Ty's fights usually took place in the woods behind the school. Charlie knew he should have gone home and hidden under his bed. That's what his best friend Andrew told him to do when Charlie showed him the note during American history. But Charlie hadn't gone home. Charlie couldn't help it. He may not have felt brave, but he wanted to see this thing through the end. The one thing that always drove Charlie nuts was not knowing the answer to a puzzle or riddle or secret. Charlie was curious, and Ty's note was a puzzle. He had to know what it meant. 30 minutes of walking to the busy sidewalks of Blackstone brought Charlie to the alley behind Gideon Street. A blue neon sign shined near the entrance. The sign was in the shape of a top hat with a blue neon rabbit peeking out of it. Hey, an unfamiliar voice muttered. Charlie made out a tall shadow in the middle of the alley. It was Ty, standing next to a big metal garbage bin. So that's why he told me to come here, Charlie thought, so he could throw me in with the rest of the trash. Ty was wearing jeans, a t-shirt, his chain wallet, and a pair of staff work boots. That was what he always wore, along with a sour expression. He looks angry, thought Charlie, and Ty did. Even his spiky black hair looked angry. Suddenly, Ty tossed open the lid of the garbage bin. The heavy lid swung back and struck the side of the brick building with a loud bang. Hurry up, Hitch, ordered Ty. Charlie walked closer. At least the garbage is in plastic, he thought. Maybe it won't smell so bad. I said hurry up, Ty said. He lifted a giant bag of garbage from the ground with one hand, as if it weighed no more than a kitten. Without taking his eyes off Charlie, he slung the garbage into the bin and slammed the lid shut. Then Ty walked over to a door in the side of the brick building. He yanked it open and barked inside. Charlie did what he was told. The metal door slammed behind him. He was alone in the dark room with Tyler Yu. This was it, the end. In the dim light that leaked under another door, Charlie saw Tyler raise his fist. Charlie wanted to close his eyes, but he didn't. He kept them open and braced himself for the punch. "What do you want?" he whispered. Then he saw a finger poked out of Ty's fist. "You," said Ty, "I need your help."